Evo first drove the Bugatti Veyron in 2005. With a then unheard of 987 horsepower, it comprehensively blew us away.
That was then, and this is now. And this is the extraordinary Bugatti Veyron 16.4 Grand Sport Vitesse. And it has an incredible 1183 brake horsepower.
Key differences between the original Veyron and this include revised cooling intakes on the front, 4 bigger turbochargers, lighter wheels, and for this, the open-top Grand Sport version, carbon fibre intakes either side of the engine.
Enough of that. What does 1183 horsepower feel like on the road? It feels like this. And how does the Bugatti Grand Sport Vitesse handle the corners? Well, it handles them pretty well, actually. The car feels much lighter than you would expect. The engine and gearbox alone, it weighs around 650 kilos. And I must admit, before I drove this car, I was expecting all of that mass to feel like it was going to overtake the front and move around, but it contains that mass so well. But overall, this is a really well-balanced car. It's really responsive to either more gas or less gas, or more steering and less steering. And you need that on a car like this because everything just happens so much faster. I mean, here we go, on the exit of a corner, second gear. Wow! I mean, that just felt like there wasn't a straight there. It felt like we just leapt from one corner to the next. On the braking side, you have carbon ceramic brakes all round, and they offer really fantastic braking performance. The pedal feel is obviously, we often complain on Evo about pedal feel for carbon ceramic brakes. Sometimes you have a dead spot at the very top. Well, actually, the top of the pedal, the really important piece of feedback at the top of the pedal, it's really good. And you also have, I wouldn't say it's a soft pedal, but it's not a hard pedal either. So you have really nice progressive action. Bit more ABS there. Turn in, a little bit of understeer. This corner tightens up. Thankfully I've been through here before, otherwise I'd be in that rock. Great direction change. Off we go again. See, I didn't get the full 1200 horsepower there. A mere 900. That was a mere 600. One of the great little treats about this car is watching the rear spoiler activate. You can press a button into handling mode just down here by the gear shifter, and you can see the thing raise up. Interestingly, it goes so high that you look straight underneath it, so that your rear visibility isn't compromised. I do wish I had a little bit more mid-corner feedback from the steering. The turbo lag is curious. The turbo lag accentuates the sensation of acceleration. You get this sudden whoosh and the turbo comes in. But actually, there are on occasion when you're in a corner, second gear, and you're ready to go, and you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting, and then off. A normally aspirated engine will always deliver that crisper throttle response. But then a normally aspirated engine is never going to get you to 1200 horsepower on the road. Often on Evo, we bemoan the lack of a manual gearbox in supercars, or any cars to be honest. However, with this, do you know what, I'm not sure if I want to be changing gear manually with this amount of performance on offer. So much of your concentration is focused on the road ahead and getting your line right and your braking. I'm quite happy with this dual clutch gearbox and the way it works. Super, super impressive. Well, as good as these Spanish roads are, you're never going to get the chance to give it the full welly. However, yesterday on a private test track, I did this. That was 228 miles an hour with the roof off. How did it feel? Well, the car felt very, very stable. I didn't need to grip the steering wheel very hard. It was really, really nice just to keep the car on a dead straight course. Didn't really feel I was getting affected by any crosswinds. It was a little bit windy. Overall, the car felt super stable, and this is the incredible thing. This is a road car. It's a road car with no roof. So the only way I can really describe the sensation you get when you're pushing this car hard, and it's a cliche, and I hate to say it, but it does feel like when you're on the top of a roller coaster, and you get that feeling of hesitation, a pause, and then you drop over the edge. And that's that feeling in this car, except that feeling just goes on and on and on. It's so exciting. You know, I thought I knew fast cars. I'm very fortunate being the editor of Evo. I've driven Enzos and Carrera GTs and all sorts of weird and wonderful cars. But this really is another league. Some GTR fanboys who are watching this video will say, yeah, but you know, a GTR is just as quick and it's, you know, a fraction of the price, blah, blah, blah. We love the GTR. It's an extraordinary car, and actually to 60 miles an hour, very similar figure, very similar, you know, two and a half seconds or so. The extraordinary thing about this car is that 60 to 100 feels just as violent as 0 to 60, and 100 to 150 feels just as violent as 0 to 60. It just keeps going. I wish you were here. I wish you were sat next to me now to feel what this is like. It really is an extraordinary experience.